Another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030, and today we are looking at tobacco marketing. In episodes prior to this one, we looked at tobacco research, where we're looking at various ways and mechanisms in which there can be improvement in the production of tobacco. We cannot ignore the fact that tobacco contributes immensely to the gross domestic product of our economy. At this point in time, we're going to be listening to the Vice President of Zimbabwe, Dr. Comrade Chiwenga, who's going to be giving us an perspective of government expectations and strategies that have been put in place to ensure that tobacco marketing is done fairly in a transparent manner, to ensure that farmers and the various stakeholders that participate along the value chain are all rewarded accordingly. Stay tuned.
I am delighted once again to be here this morning to officially launch the start of the 2024 tobacco marketing season. This is an important event in the country's farming calendar as agriculture remains one of the key sectors in our accelerated drive to achieve an empowered and prosperous upper middle income society by 2030. And that shall be achieved. Minister of Agriculture plays a major role in us achieving that vision. And you as tobacco farmers here present today, and those who have remained home, who could manage to wake up this early hour, wherever they are, you play a major role in making sure we achieve our vision. You are all aware that in 2020, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, launched the Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy. This has now been refined to the Agriculture, Food Systems and the Rural Transformation Strategy, aimed at enhancing agriculture, production, productivity, and profitability in line with the National Development Strategy 1, 2021 to 2025. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, government regards the tobacco industry as a sector that has great potential to grow and increase our country's foreign exports. Yes, we have got the other sector, the mines and minerals, but agriculture with tobacco currently at the helm plays a major role in our export earnings. This realization led to the launch of the Tobacco Value Chain Transformation Plan. The thrust of the transformation plan is to transform the tobacco value chain into a US $5 billion industry by next year, 2025. This will be achieved through increased production and productivity, increasing local production to 300 million kilograms annually, localization of tobacco production financing, value addition and beneficiation, as well as exports of cigarettes, employment creation, and raising household incomes, among others. The government is pleased to note that the tobacco production in the country has rebounded significantly since the advent of the land reform program. Zimbabwe produced 211 million kilograms of tobacco, 212 million kilograms, and a record 296 kilograms in 2021, 2022, and 2023, respectively. The target is now to increase production from the current 296 million kilograms to 300 million kilograms annually, as stipulated in the Tobacco Value Chain Transformation Plan. In this endeavor, I challenge all stakeholders in the tobacco value chain to work hand in glove to achieve and surpass this target. Government, through the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development and Investment Promotion, remains committed to capacitating tobacco farmers by localizing finance for the 150,000 producers. We are aware that some bottlenecks in rolling out the program which the responsible ministry has addressed. Furthermore, in a bid to mitigate the increased cost of production, the foreign currency retention for tobacco growers for 2023-24 tobacco marketing season was standardized at 75%. This effectively means that 25% will be paid to tobacco growers in local currency. I urge growers to participate in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe auction to get foreign currency from the United States dollar payments, which you are going to be receiving. Ladies and gentlemen, government is concerned that we still export 98% of our tobacco in raw form. In the process, exporting jobs and value. We need to create jobs here in Zimbabwe. We need to add value to our produce. In tandem with our Value Addition and Beneficiation Trust, the Second Republic has laid down a comprehensive plan in the tobacco value chain. I am pleased with the current investments in tobacco processing plants in the country to give impetus to value addition from the current 2% of tobacco produced to over 30%. As government, we are creating an enabling environment for entities interested in value addition and beneficiation of Zimbabwean tobacco in the broader framework of private sector-led economy. As I conclude my remarks, let me proceed in the tobacco industry and marketing board to ensure fairness and transparency in tobacco marketing, and that all stakeholders receive fair value from their investment. In the same vein, all farmers should continue growing tobacco in a manner that is sustainable and environment eco-friendly. If we cut the trees, then it is as some of the trees we cut, they've taken maybe over 500, 1,000 years, 2,000 years to grow. So what has been encouraged here to have woodlots, we've discussed a bit with the chairman and the minister. Let's all do that so that we, at the end of the day, we are eco-friendly. We keep our environment for us now and for the future generations to come after we are all born. With these remarks, it is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the 2024 tobacco marketing season officially opened.
From the government's perspective, where we have a speech that was delivered by the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Chiwenga. We were looking at ways in which we increase output of tobacco. We are targeting well over 300 million kilograms. They also spoke to us in terms of the proceeds of farmers. They are going to be getting 75% of their proceeds in foreign currency, which is USD, and 25% in local currency. Now, we're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. To agricultural new directions, agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. Today we are looking at tobacco marketing here in Zimbabwe. Now, I encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer Wazamai Manyore, so 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wazamai, make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions. They are most welcome to us on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wazamai. We are also available on X, formerly known as Twitter, so Agribusiness 110. Now, at this point in time, we're going to be joined by the regulatory authority, the board chairman, Mr. Patrick Devenish. Stay tuned. Mr. Devenish, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, from the speech of our Vice President, Dr. Chiwenga, he said that well over 70%, between 65 to 70% of our tobacco comes from our smallholder farmers.
Yes.
As the regulatory authority, what do you have in plan to capacitate our smallholder farmers in the wake of drought? The El Nino-induced drought did play a fundamental role in distracting the production of tobacco. So what are your plans in capacitating the smallholder farmers?
Well, I think you can't call them our plans, the TIMB plans. I think they're national plans.
Okay.
I know for a fact that ZIMBABWE is working very hard on developing irrigation systems all around the country, led by the Minister of Agriculture. So I think that's a big part. So irrigation is one thing, agronomy is another, and a lot of the contractors are training their farmers better and better. So the smallholder farmer is becoming a better and better farmer. Coupled with that is the development of new varieties by Kutsaga, which is our National Tobacco Research Center. And then finance is also a very important one. Okay. The contractors are doing a great job of financing the smallholder farmer, but we would like to do more local financing of that. As you know, there's currently a big liquidity crisis in our country, but as that liquidity crisis starts to ease, I would like to believe that we, as the industry, as the banking sector, can build a fund to help reduce the cost of money.
Okay, now Mr. Devenish, she spoke of a critical issue which speaks to financing of production of tobacco in Zimbabwe here. You would find that there has been talk and issues surrounding sourcing of local funds to finance the Zimbabwean farmer. Where are we with what are your sentiments, the advantages that comes with local funding of tobacco production in Zimbabwe?
Well, I think the most important aspect of local funding is the money stays within our country.
Yes.
So if we manage to build a fund, I mean the total cost of production of our crop is around about $300 million.
Okay.
If we are able to build a fund that we can advance the money to the contractors, to the individual growers, those who have creditworthiness, then the money will circulate within our country and it will continue to grow. So we'll add more and more value to our crop.
Okay. In the ways of mitigating the high production costs, our Zimbabwean farmers are always crying with the prices of fertilizer. At times when they look at their sales sheet, a bag of fertilizer can even be charged up to $60 when it comes to after selling their tobacco. In ways of mitigating the high production cost, what do you have in place? Maybe speaking on behalf of the government as the regulatory authority.
Well, the TIMB did an exercise on cost of productions, and they discovered that there's some big disparities in the price of inputs across the board from various suppliers. And I think what they really want to do is try and keep everyone honest. So if a bag of fertilizer is between $30 and $60, the guy at 30 is still making money.
Yes.
So let's try and get it there. And the same applies to all inputs. You know, fertilizer, chemicals, fuel, farming implements, tractors, etc.
Now, a look at the tobacco value chain transformation plan. What is it? What are the strategies in place? What are the tactics that you seek to employ to ensure that this transformation is a success?
Well, you know, I always say that the French do not export grapes, they export wine.
Yes.
So we export tobacco, why are we not exporting cigarettes? It's not quite as easy as that, however. Cigarettes manufacturers like to manufacture those cigarettes in the country where they're going to be consumed. So as a country and as an industry, we need to discover and work how we can manufacture cigarettes out there for sale into those markets. And I talk specifically about the Middle East, about the former CIS states, Eastern Europe. There's huge opportunity out there, but it's a hell of a lot easier said than done. Okay. So we're going to have to work with the experts in cigarette production and see if we can build some brands out there and so on.
Our Zimbabwean farmers are going to be rewarded for their hard work, toil and labor. This is the opening of the tobacco marketing season. What ways are in place to ensure fairness and transparency?
Well, the tobacco industry has protocols that manage the marketing of tobacco. If people stick to those protocols, they will get the full value of their tobacco. It's when people go outside it and start side marketing, having two growers numbers, all these type of things, that ultimately costs the farmer money. So discipline, as I said in my speech, discipline is critical. We have to adhere to the rules that the industry has created. We are a part of the industry and together we create rules. If everyone adheres to those rules, the farmers will get full value for their tobacco.
Okay, finally, as we close this segment, Mr. Devenish, you would say that you are also a chairman who plays a part within the food security sector. Tobacco farmers are human beings that also need to take food. As a country, we are looking at food security, food sovereignty. In a nutshell, to tobacco farmers, how can they play a critical role in ensuring that as a country we are food secure?
Well, I don't think every tobacco farmer can be a food producer.
Yes.
But I've always said that, you know, commercial farmers in particular, they should all grow a small crop of maize to contribute to the national production. But the smallholder farmer, he really must try and grow his own maize. That's so important.
Thank you so much, Mr. Devenish, for taking your time to come onto our platform and enlighten our audience there at home in terms of tobacco production and the opening of the season. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you very much.
At this point in time, I have taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Aaron Denenga. He is a renowned farmer in his own right, and at the same time, he is the board chairman of Utsaga, where they specialize in research of certain varieties in line with climate proofing our agriculture here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Denenga, thank you for joining us today.
Really, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much.
As we get into our discussion, Mr. Denenga, for starters, I want to talk to you in your capacity as a farmer. I understand that with the commencement of every marketing season, farmers normally bring in primings, mashija epasi.
Yes.
Today, what was the price, the opening price of today's market, and what does it mean for the entire season?
It was quite a mixed pricing system that I saw there. The top price that I saw was about $4.92, which I think would leave quite some farmers not as happy as they would like to be, because we normally know the ceiling is about $4.99.
Yes.
But what I found interesting was that for some of the lower grade tobacco was receiving quite firmer prices, which might actually mean as farmers, considering the season we've had this year, there's not going to be a lot of great quality tobacco out there in the market, to be very honest. So seeing some of the firmer prices we've seen for lower grade tobacco is an optimistic point of view in terms of how the pricing is started on today.
Okay. Now, in your capacity as the board chairman of Utsaga, it is an institution that is recognized internationally for its production of varieties that are in line with climate proofing. So in terms of research, what are your sentiments, your views, what you
Sure.
as the board chairman of Kutsaga?
Well, I must say I'm pretty proud of what the Kutsaga team has been working on right now. Over the last couple of years, we've been very hard fast and working on climate smart varieties, and we released numerous new varieties that are climate smart. We know that this weather phenomenon is here with us to stay, and as a result our scientists and our researchers at Kutsaga have been working on bringing out new varieties that are more climate smart, some more drought resistant, some more pest resistant, because we've noticed how the pest farming has evolved over time.
Yes.
And having the rotations we used to have is not as comfortable ability to farmers to have rotations as possible. So as a result, we've had to develop varieties that are more conducive to the farming environment we have right now. And I'm proud to say that there's been so many varieties that as Kutsaga has released now that are yielding great results. So I think as Kutsaga we've been working very much forward in coming forward in implementing the tobacco transformation plan to ensure that the climate smart varieties out in the market.
Mr. Denenga, you would find that there's been calls from our government, even the Vice President in his speech was talking of increasing quantity, whereby he was saying we are targeting around 300 million kg of tobacco. Whenever the quantity is increased, the quality of the product is reduced.
Yes.
So in terms of increasing quantity whilst maintaining quality, what are your sentiments for starters as a farmer, as the board chairman, as the researching authority in tobacco?
Now, I work by a philosophy which is grow better and not more, you know. But then once you start understanding the importance of yield, because the reality of tobacco, if you've got a good yield, in most cases it comes with good quality.
Yes.
So from 1 hectare, you should be hoping to achieve 3 tons per hectare. And I can be assured if you've got a 3-ton crop, you've got good quality also at the same time. So many times we haven't done that understanding, we don't have that understanding as to what yield actually means. We just grow that hectare and not actually understand what our expectation from that hectare should be.
Okay.
So from that, we can actually achieve the 300 million kgs that we've set, that the government has set for the tobacco industry by growing the same amount of hectarage but growing it better. Because the better comes with the better yield.
When it comes to smallholder capacitation, in terms of irrigation, what are your sentiments and your views?
One, we know that for a fact that we've got to be grateful for the government again, because we've had a lot of new water bodies that have been established in the countries and more coming up. So we know that the government is pretty much in line with what needs to be done and just ensuring that firstly we have the water. The next part is, do we have the support for that water in terms of irrigation equipment to in order us to be able to utilize that water onto our lands. And you're very right in saying that everyone always thinks of the center pivot. But if you look at something like drip irrigation, that is climate smart, because we're looking at something that actually utilizes maybe 50% less water than a center pivot does. Because the center pivot will irrigate all the land, including where there is no tobacco.
Yes.
Whilst the drip irrigation is irrigating specifically on that crop, and it's conserving the wonderful resource of water that we're trying to preserve. So we shouldn't all worry about what a center pivot does. Drip irrigation done correctly can be fantastic for tobacco. I know some tobacco farmers that only one tobacco farmer does 50 hectares under drip irrigation is one of the best farmers that we know of. So then drip irrigation should not be underestimated. In fact, it should be encouraged. So it's one way to be climate smart and also to preserve the water and actually produce a fantastic crop.
Tobacco quality begins with the seedbed.
Yes.
Talk to us about it.
So again, that's where we have to look at the innovations that are out there. I am personally an advocate for the flow trace system. The flow trace system is one that, number one, it preserves water. Number two, reduces disease because you're not putting your tobacco seedlings into the soil. I'll speak again as a farmer, an example. I used to do the conventional seedbeds, and now I've moved on to the flow trace systems. When we were doing the conventionals, we had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to water the seedbeds. We had to water it again at 8 o'clock. We had to water it again at 1 o'clock. We had to water it again at 4 o'clock. Now that we're doing the flow trace system, we're topping up the water once a week in those ponds, which again then has reduced the amount of labor utilized. It's now a matter of being more scientifically looking at your crop to actually identify any of the challenge and not so labor intensive. So I'm using maybe even 25% amount of people working in my seed beds than I would have beforehand because I'm converted onto the flow trace system.
Thank you so much, Mr. Denenga, for taking your time to come onto our platform and discuss pertinent issues which speak to the gross domestic product of our economy.
Thank you so much, Wendy. It's a privilege being with you here, and looking forward to seeing you again soon, maybe this time at the farm.
For me, your host, I'm also on Instagram, it's W Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.